Yeah, it's kind of loud a little bit.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Can you hear me okay? I'll try to. Now I can. So I tried to talk about this. I want to thank all of you for being part of this task force. It's very, very important and vital that we get as much feedback as we can here in the next few months before the city moves ahead with budgeting for next year. My name is Sean Kirby. I'm your mayor. I'm going to be your mayor for the next 3.5 years at least. I'm going to play a role in this task force with you. And just a little background on myself. I've been in town here for about 36 years. I've been a member of this community center for at least 30 years. Use it all the time until COVID hit, and then I just stopped coming up for whatever reason. After, and I know we're fully open, but I just haven't been utilizing the facility like I wanted to before COVID. And then, of course, we do have some challenges out there, as you all know right now with the growth. That's a short-term challenge, so hopefully we'll be by that pretty quick. So as we move along here in the next weeks and months, like I said, I appreciate all the input you have to offer. Every one of you are a very vital role in this. I know we've got representation here from different committees, different parts of the city, school board. So it's important to be real inclusive with this task force. And as we move ahead, if you have any questions, feel free to ask myself or Mary Yip, ask our city administrator, Mr. Kruger. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to what you want to start up.
Yeah. Thank you. And the way we'll handle this is pretty casual. So if there's questions that come up, definitely just ask them. We have some goals that we want to accomplish today. Just kind of we'll go through the agenda. We'll go through some introductions. I don't know if everybody knows each other. That this guy's a new guy in town, so not everybody probably knows him yet, but maybe they do. And then Allison's going to give us a little tour, a little walking tour through the facility, check out the facility in case you haven't seen it yet. And then we're going to come back through here and I'll give a little presentation about the history of the community center, the background of, why the city has it, how we got it, and then kind of go through a financial review. And as you can imagine, the last full year that we had, where we had good financial numbers, is 2019. 2020, from March, we had COVID hit, and that was just a wonky year. So we were shutting down the facility and opening it back up as the state determined. So 2020 got good numbers, and we kind of used those numbers and some hopefully conservative estimates for the 2021 budget. And then we'll go into the 2021 budget at the next meeting and kind of talk about that. So I think we should start around. We do have a sign-in sheet. So if you haven't signed in, I saw a couple of people walk in. Sign in, we'll get you on the sheet, and then we'll get you on the email correspondence. But we might just start with Henry. Kind of introduce yourself, and maybe why is the task force important to you, and what do you want to accomplish? Part of it.
Sounds good. Okay, my name is Henry Kress. I've lived in Sueur since October 29, 1972. I came to work at the foundry. The foundry hired me from Pittsburgh. And I came to the foundry as the quality control manager. And I worked at the foundry in 2 different capacities until I retired on April 15th, 2005. So I've been around a long time. As a matter of fact, when I came to town, the community center was not here yet. And so I watched it. My wife and I and my kids watched it being built and so on. The hole for the swimming pool was there. I believe they built the pool, I'm going to guess, in 1979. There might be somebody here that feel more accurate, but I think it was around 79. They did a survey to see how many people would use the pool. They did this so that they could find out, do we want a pool? Should we not do it? Well, a lot of people come up and said, we want the pool, we really want the pool. So, needless to say, some years later, they started. I love the pool. I use it as much as I can. I use the community center as much as I can. And like I say, my wife and I and my children, and even my grandchildren, know the community center very well. What else you want to know?
That's good. Back at you, and you might have to turn the integrity part of it, you know,
Okay.
on our city record, so we do our ballot. Looks like you're right now. Good. Why don't we go start over there? We'll go over there, Jim.
Jim Wagner, superintendent for Sueur Anderson. I guess the big thing about this being important is that it's a vital part of the community and a link for the school district as well. I think that there's a connection that can be made between the city and the school district. Things that can be offered to make the Sueur Anderson area a place to attract families and anybody that wants to be part of growth and some good exciting things. Thank you. Well, officially July 1st.
Okay.
Let's go over to Jim, you started that role over there.
Yeah, then sure. I would say it's got a lot to offer to a lot of people in here. And there's a lot of different ideas that we can do with this space in here. It's just piece it all together and I don't know, I want to see this place grow and next we have to make a survey that came out of our school. That's on the field house. I think that would be great to incorporate as a new function. Incorporate this in with the school. So I'll see what we can do. Both of those things.
Brad, you're up.
Rex Dawson, biggest been on live support. It's part of the community district community. Walks. School uses a lot, kids down there, I'm there all the time. I don't want to lose it, so I don't know what to do. Some spaces we have. Function.
Format W. I was removed here in 1980, so I was a Sueur grad, left, now I've been back for about 15 years. This is, to me, one of our greatest assets. Now we're kind of, as you dive into the doors, start looking at this kind of numbers again, so this stuff makes my head start at some of it. Where it's at, where I think year where we're allocating things. But we got to figure out a way to balance that. I think we need this building. It's an important asset. But we've got to figure out a way to balance that with the fiscal responsibility of expert dollar, which is the biggest challenge. We've got a lot of money thrown at this. But they want to tax dollars as well, so we've got to figure out how to get all those balanced and squeeze everything out of this that you can to make this greater. And I think there's this is an absolute challenge. I think starting with that, I don't think a fraction is going to be used. There's probably no fraction. There's a fraction. No idea there's even an ice cream. There's a fraction on this. Just utilize it more and more and more, figure out ways to be creative. That's why.
I'm Judith Jones. I've been a member of the community center since 2006. And until last year, the providers, I spent 6 hours a week doing lab school and things in the fitness center for pain management. And it's really physically challenged since then we have to get out of the pool. And so I'm really kind of looking at that. And I think our community center is such a quality life to our city. And it should be focused on all ages and abilities of people that can use different things, indoors, outdoors, and all of that. But we're really lucky to have such a nice city.
I'm Joe Roby. I'm not on the task force. I just yesterday said I came on to listen. Great. I serve as the finance director for the city of Sueur, and so I also been a resident here for most of my life. I birthday party still, and so finance are one of the best for our community, and I'll be the city as well. So I'm here close to this.
I'm in. Primary driver for that. Things was this building. What's up right here. Yeah, I think another small town outside of River Falls. State of Minnesota. Yes.
Nelson Watkins, recreation manager here. So I had an interesting couple of years and initially my first year into it, so it's kind of crazy. But Catholic is definitely important. For me, it's my livelihood. I know just home, so I like being with so I would like to see this do well. But more importantly, is all of you stated, this is a gem. Who we decide have a building and facilitate so many different programs is amazing. So our frustration lies in lack of signing on for lack of programming, signing up for programming, things like that. So we hope that those task forces can address those things. Utilization of your rates and that is really important in some areas that get used all the time and some that not. So yeah.
Thanks. I guess I'll introduce myself. I think everybody knows me pretty much, but I've been here for almost 5 years. It'll be my 5-year anniversary in August. So, gotten to know the community pretty well. This has always been an interesting part of the city in the way that the city operates. It's something that it's very unique that we have something like this, and the story of how we got it is unique, right? And things like that. So, but it's here. People love it. I don't think there's anybody that I've talked to that doesn't think it's an asset. Finding that balance, I think Rich and Cormac both said we got to find that balance. The market that for the community center is pretty much set, right? We have a regional boundary and marketing potential that we can try to get people. We want to try to get as many people in here as we can. So that's a challenge, and that's what I want to try to figure out, and this task force will help guide that. So it's a very unique community, and really we want to utilize it the best we can, using taxpayer dollars, private dollars, and getting everybody, hopefully, school partnership with some of these things too. So, a little bit about me, but yeah. So the next thing that we're going to do is just kind of do a quick tour. Allison is going to give us a little tour. We're going to go out those doors, I believe, maybe go through the senior room. And you can go in there for like the third time in your life. So, and then we'll kind of make our way down, and we'll go check out the pool. Don't get too close to the edge. I don't want you to fall in. It's 12 feet deep, so it's kind of a long ways down. But then we'll kind of make our way back up, and then we'll jump right in and just start talking about it. Some of the goals of today, what we really want to do is just kind of get everybody up to speed as far as what we offer here. I think everybody's pretty up to speed for that. It's a good group, but just kind of an overview of that, and then talk about those finances. Very similar to what the presentation was almost a year ago today that I did, talking about the community centers. Still using some of those same numbers, and we'll dive into some of those more recent numbers here in the next meeting. But get a tour, talk about the history, and then have a little discussion afterwards, and then talk about the future agenda, and then talk about when we think we can meet it. I don't know if we'll be able to figure that out here today, but really kind of a time frame that gives me some guidance to send out another poll where I can get some of the members that aren't here today to participate. So with that, we'll have Allison kind of be our guide and kind of walk us around the facility. Feel free to ask questions as we're walking.
Well, we'll start in this room since we're in here already. This is the merit room. As you can see, we have this huge, beautiful TV that we use our digital fitness system on. We use Wellbeats for that, so we don't have a ton of instructors that give classes. So you can come in here on this screen here, you can kind of see it. You can pick a class, you can do your own class, you can bring a group of friends in here and do a class. We have spin bikes, we have the TRX system, which is a suspension system, as you can see. We also have some weights, some things in here to use for stretching. We also rent this room out for birthday parties. We have a dance group that comes in and rents out most of the year. In the summer, they take a break, but they're in here, they use this room as well. So this room is used for a lot of different things, meetings like tonight and other things as well. So that's what is in here.
Is there participation from class and revenues on that?
So this is part of your fitness center membership. It's not a separate piece that we charge for your membership. So anybody that has a fitness center membership can use this. Now, if you have a gymnasium membership, you can't come up in this room and use this. It's part of the fitness center package.
But we just ran a year-long report and had more usage than what I expected. So.
And that was with COVID as well.
That was
so,
with COVID.
Yeah, so I was actually pleasantly surprised. People do come up and use this. So it's a nice thing to have, especially since we don't have a ton of instructors and can do all of these classes. We bring more instructors and we have to pay those people. Well, right now we just pay for the system. Any other questions?
You could rent this room, right, when you mentioned that. So you could rent this room out. That's one of our revenue streams is rentals. Very small revenue stream, but people can do it. And we're working on like birthday packages and things like that to make it more attractive to rent something out. So.
Well, and that was something we utilized last year when we shut down, correct?
Yep, so we did utilize the Wellbeat system when COVID hit and we were actually closed. Members could stream the system on their phone and actually do exercises as well. So it's part of the way that we kept people moving the best we could during COVID. So that was part of the offer with that as well, which was actually kind of really nice. So. Any other questions? We're going to move into the fitness center area, which there's two different parts of the fitness center area. There's the cardio part, where you're going to get your treadmills, your bikes, ellipticals, things like that. And then there's the weight area in this area. That's around.
Do you still wrestle, County?
They just saw they approved it this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Here to see.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Ferguson's out there.
All right. So we'll jump right in. We'll get started. Talk a little bit about the history. It sounds like a good good resource to talk a little bit about it. But we'll just get started and then we'll just kind of roll into this and just kind of see what develops here today. So we're going to talk about a couple different things here. We have the outdoor pool, which has its own kind of history, and then we have the community center, which we're in right now, which has this that we'll talk about. So the outdoor pool, which is part of the community center, so as a budgeting component, we have one fund that funds these things. So the community center and outdoor pool. And I'll talk about what those service areas are in that fund. And that's really what we're talking about when we're looking at the numbers. That's what the fund is called. So we've had an outdoor pool in the 1940s. I don't exactly know when. I got some periodic aerial imagery, but one year in 1930 something, it's not 49 or 52 or something like that. It's there. So somewhere there in the 40s, I don't exactly know. The community center, I believe it started being built in 1976, but you were saying maybe 1970 now.
No, at the pool.
Oh, the pool. Okay,
The pool.
so
Yeah, this was built, yeah. As a matter of fact, there was already some activity here when we came to town in 72.
okay.
A lot of talk about it.
Yeah, so this facility's been here quite some time. And the bones that you see are the bones that were built in 1976. So this is an older
The
facility.
walls went up in 76.
Okay. The community center was started being funded by the city. Looking back at the audits that we have back into the 80s, they're challenging, they're sporadic, we don't have a lot of them. But sometime in the 1980s, early 1980s, we started funding it as a city. That was kind of the transition from when Free Giant was here, and then they corporate headquarters left now, and now this is a product that the city has taken on, and we've been taking care of it ever since. We've expanded operations. We tried a lot of different things over the years. We've tried a lot of different things like the pool got built. The ice arena. I'm not exactly sure when the ice arena part was built. I don't know before Mac or Matt, that year. I'm guessing sometime in the 80s or 90s. Oh, was it?
No,
It was back.
we had ice before we had.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So, and then, tax contributions, a lot of people, what I found when I had this conversation last year about this time is that a lot of people didn't understand that there was a tax component, levy component where all the operations are essentially, we'll call it subsidized by property taxes, which some that was very surprising to others that kind of follow city operations, it wasn't surprising, and they kind of tracked. Generally speaking, over the last 4 years or so, that's roughly about $500,000, what the community puts into the facility. So, and that's only a number that we'll look at throughout this whole process. So, any questions or anything anybody wants to add about the history of the facility that you think might be useful to this group? And, personally, I'd like to just kind of document it too, so if you have something, let us know and we can kind of keep track, keep a living history of the facility.
Well, what year was the new office front? This used to be the main office here.
I don't know.
That would be around 1900.
Yeah, the original entrance is over here.
You were in town already, Sean, before the office was out front. Yeah. Very more so. Yeah.
And the configuration of here. There's a big hallway there that leans straight through the. So this used to be
Well, there was all. Yeah.
I can remember the wall.
I was already up here when they would do
In the gym, there was a gymnasium. For all the gymnastics, was.
a home and trade show. Yeah. It was down on the other side.
Upstairs.
Yeah, they used to have a lot of trade shows in the summertime.
Yep.
In the ice arena. That's kind of fizzled away. We haven't had anything since I've been here, and now we have summer ice or something that's in there. So.
Jenny, capabilities and the state portion.
They're okay. State horseshoes.
So they.
Yes. Yeah.
And have all the money done.
Yeah.
We read it, and with the plan. Yeah, it was, yeah, it looked like a huge deal. The recreation probably has changed. That's something that really doesn't get played now, and there's no more stadiums, things like that. So as we go through this, think about how recreation has changed too.
Yeah, well, in the history, if you have something, feel free to tell me, call me, email me. I kind of want to keep a record of a lot of this stuff. And some of these renovations would be great to kind of track down when they actually happen, and just kind of get that timeline solidified. So I'll jump into the kind of finances and business model of the community center that we have here. You can see our budget overall for the facility is just usually right around $1 million, a little bit under $1 million. This is for 2020. And you can see in 2020 revenues that were collected are projected to be collected. It was a little different with COVID, but a little underbalanced. It comes from revenue. The other, a little bit more than that, comes from taxes. So on the levy. So we levy money from property taxes, people pay the property taxes, and that's what funds the community center more than all. We have the following service areas. So we all kind of look at the fitness center. We have one called the general facility. Because no matter what, the buildings here, there's some intrinsic costs to just having a building. We found out kind of what those were during COVID when we had to shut everything down. We basically found out what our core operating costs were for the facility when nobody's using it. Part of that general facility and out of all the service areas, we do have one bond that we issued in 2014 for the facility related to some improvements to the roof structure of the ice arena, the roof in general, sprinklers, and a few odds and ends things too that we ended up doing. And that bond, correct me if I'm wrong, was for about $4.6 million, something like that. So that bond is something that we spread out across the service areas. So each service area has an allocation for that. And the internal metrics, bookkeeping of that, we can that's how you'll see in future slides, how we can kind of determine, well, what does this service area cost per year to operate? So, the general facility, the gym, racquetball, ice arena, indoor pool, outdoor pool, and then we also rec program. We have a programming component where we offer programming, recreation programming. The school offers community education programming. So those two things kind of work in conjunction with each other. We try not to compete with each other and offer the same programming, but that's a component here that a lot of people utilize, especially in the summer. So, the revenue sources really are the tax levy and the fees for services. So the memberships, people pay to use the facility, and then the rentals. So the rentals of the ice arena, the rentals of the American room, birthday party, things like that. That's a pretty small component of what our actual revenues are, other than the tax levy. So this slide kind of shows the different service areas. And the blue area indicates what kind of revenue we collect for that area, and the red or the orange shows what the levy contribution is. So some of these you can see fitness centers a little bit better than that. Comes from memberships. Same with the general facility. Same with gym, racquetball. Ice arena, I would say, is our best performing. I think it's even gotten better. In 2021, I think we're projecting it to get even better than that. Indoor pool, you can see that's kind of the one that we're looking at. $46,000 in revenue, $148,000 from the levy just for the indoor pool. Outdoor pool, only open 3 months out of the year. It's not any better. It's actually proportionally worse than the indoor. So, and we want to get everything out there so people are looking at rec programming. You can see that the levy subsidizes the rec programs that we offer quite a bit. So I think this graph or this slide is really useful in kind of seeing how much of the property taxes that are collected every year go to each one of these service areas. And not a single one is self-sufficient. The ice arena is pretty dang close, getting there. we've done some things with some incremental increases in ice time rentals, working with the youth group and the school to just kind of make sure it's palatable. It's not going to make them not use the facility. So working with them to kind of come up with a plan to get that to be as close to the self-sufficient as possible. So I think it's very useful, and it's really a good visual to kind of see where these different areas are funded. So do you guys have any, questions? A lot of questions. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So Silver Sneakers is a very interesting program. Almost every community center pretty much offers. We don't make very much money on it. What's it, $3 per visit, up to $33 per month. So if your membership, you get $33 per month. If you use it, if you use it the maximum amount of time. So you use it certain times, there's no like a certain amount. But it's a program, it's a living source, but it's not, but it's something that we want. Right, so, but it's not a huge revenue for what it is. Julie, you have a question?
Yes, data that you're using for this, was it generated from the program last year or from before?
Yeah, so this data was generated from our financial audits. We did get new financial software, which I think Allison will allow for us a lot more capabilities of giving us the data we need to develop some new metrics. So we're still like an access card data. We're still gathering that data, and we're going to use it to make better decisions. The previous software was very challenging. We didn't provide a lot of reporting to the meeting. So City Council and RPAC made the recommendation and ultimate choice to move forward. So I think that'll be good. Matt had a question.
I've got two.
Yeah.
This first one's probably the easier one, but as you were explaining it before, could you give me a couple of examples of this general facility and how that?
Yeah, so the general facility, if you think of it this way, you have the bones of the facility, right? Spaces, the hallways, the admin office, the bathrooms, all of those kind of things. Elevators, just basically anything you couldn't associate with like the ice arena or fitness center. It's basically everything else that wants all for all the other areas of the building.
So it's safe to say that
there's membership revenue that goes, so there's a portion of the revenue for memberships that go with that. So we allocate in this general facility.
then how do you allocate the this cost?
It is it's honestly, Rich, we didn't have the service areas broken out, so we had a big exercise in 2020, break out all basically look at all the expenditures that were expended here at the facility. We designated, this is for the pool, this is for the ice arena, and we broke it all up, and we could find out what the total number of expenditures were, dollar amount per service area. Now, moving forward, the way we changed our financial reporting, and we have these service areas broken out in our actual budget document. So now when orders or Jenny orders something from Amazon or the ice arena, it gets coded yes. So we have a really easy way now. These numbers, there was some discretion used. You have to go through every single expenditure and figure it out.
The analysis. We went through month by month, and for every budget line item, every revenue line item, we tried to relive that month, associate a percent with each of these services. It's going to be hours, it's a huge spreadsheet, but it's not just a one way, it's all going forward from there. So we look at that, maybe you'll see it when the ice is only in here for parts and February. So you'll see the lights start going up for maybe
50% here, when I was 50%, I don't know, that we're calling, there's a lot of times in the store, full horse, 40%. Everything moved, fluctuated as the use has changed.
I think you're talking about like staff, personnel costs, and things like that. Yeah,
Electricity, all that stuff. We're very fluid one by one.
and now we've done things where we meter areas of the community center so we can actually see how much electricity is being used in that area instead of paying some of those. So we really kind of try to partition it out because this data, I'll say, is preliminary data that we use discretion to figure out. I'll be open about that. Moving forward, 2021, we have a very good method of being able to look at our budget document and say, here's the item, look at single expenditures. So I think it'll get better. We've done some things that I think, things that will help us understand it better. So some of these numbers, if you look at this, and if you look at the 2021, if you look at the audited numbers for 2021, they'll look probably different. Because there were some assumptions made with this, but 2021 should be, now we are first year exact. So hopefully that.
Okay, so when we were out in the fitness area here, you were talking about the equipment and everything, you were saying, well, we made a payment, $75,000 a year. Okay. And did you indicated that we will have that paid off next year, the year after?
2022 last year.
Will be ours.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, how much time do you figure, so that will make a big impact.
Right.
So how many years do you think we'll be able to get out of that equipment before we have to do that? That repurchase?
Yes. We hope, the previous equipment was like 25 years old.
That must make a break here, I think.
Correct, yeah, the fitness center, if you look at this, these numbers, 75,000 for tax contribution, right? Right, correlates pretty well with, the payment that we made for the equipment, so that will fall off. Now, I don't think there's any plan unless there is, to replace this equipment after 3 years. We're gonna try to ride it out, maintain it, give it the care that it needs. We'll likely have some increased maintenance costs, right? But nothing close to 75,000. So that fitness center in 2023 will get pretty dang good if we look at the same graph in 2 years.
So, at the city council meetings, I was on city council for about 12 years. And, we did multiple events, the community center, and of course, the type project, which is now the lead center. Yeah, no, not Hillside Court, the co-op.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was being built when I was on the city council.
And is that, I don't know if it's which one is that? Co-op, right?
No, that was city council. No, that's city council. That was
All right.
Okay, so, do we have a council member reporting that's assigned to the community center? If we don't, should we have something? We did back then. We had 1 or 2 council people that it was their job to report on the community to set up meetings, like with the city administrator and so on, and make sure that the director was there to, So was that what we want to keep everybody informed?
So we have a little, we have a little different setup. City council established this recreation and park advisory committee, so we call it RMAC. And we have, one city council member on there that is, a member of of the group, and then we have one that's an official. Marvin here is the official. They get monthly updates from, Allison and now Scott, our public works manager. I would say not to this detail of financials. This detail of financials is probably at the city council level when we get a quarterly report that you get. But operationally, the RPAC, June is on RPAC. Format was on RPAC, so people that were on it, but, operationally, that's for the operational updates for, on it. So we do have a couple council members that are daily or that monthly operational, and then we have quarterly financial updates for the full city council. So there are some budgets, yeah. Anything else before I move on?
Yeah, on your, on the levy dollars, how are those allocated? Is that square footage or is that just kind of, how do you do?
How did we do that? I think we,
You sat down and figured out whatever. This month, I agree that this month, what was the rest of the building this month, this part of the building, that's where the reports just came out.
yeah, but for the levy, for the whole levy, for the $506,000 that in this year's levy, I think we had it, there was a size component, right, for the bond. So the whole facility got moved up, that whatever that footprint is, is a portion of that bond. For operational costs, we know how much it costs to operate, so we knew how much it costs to operate. We know how much we generated in revenue, and then we can take that total cost minus the revenue, and then we do what the levy contribution is.
The junior annual revenue 36,301, and your rest program 38,670, you're almost the same number.
Yeah.
Is that just pulling a portion of the monthly dues and assigning it to Jim Rackenball? Because those dues don't get figured using us.
Yeah.
So that's just an allocation of the monthly split up. If they're checking this box, the membership amount.
Yeah, exactly. For Jim Rackenball, that's exactly the case. For rec program, we have an actual revenue number that we can generate.
And then with your allocations and then your swipes, are you able to see if your swipes are through the percentage that, yeah, is somebody that's using the paying for the gym, actually using it? And I'm wondering more down the road as you're making the decision on the building, staring at it. This is gym with these racquetball courts and somebody's getting it allocated, so it looks like it's all generating some revenue. But if they're getting used 2 hours a month or 2 hours a week, those racquetball courts, I mean, it's minimal.
Oh, it's
It's a small number. How is a better way to squeeze that?
We'll be able to look at that. We're just, as you can imagine, this is kind of our first, we'll call it normal-ish year. Even the beginning of 2021 wasn't exactly normal, I'll call it, but we do have these numbers. So I have these numbers that Allison gave me as far as swings go. And you can look and see what we average swipes. In the racquetball courts from May, in the month of May, had 11 swipes the whole month. So, but yeah, so this was a product of an assumption saying this part of your full access membership goes to racquetball. With this data, the swipes, we'll be able to get that to be more resolute and figure out, you might sign up for full access to whether you actually use it, So, the racquetball courts, in June, there were 22 swipes. In July, 13. So, not too many.
And we don't even have full access.
Yeah.
So now our status is broken up to which service areas you really want. So if you want a fitness center, gymnasium, and a racquetball court, we actually pay separately, pay $32 a month plus tax for the fitness center, and we pay $20 plus tax for the gymnasium and racquetball. So those memberships are broken up, it's not just full access membership.
So for 2021, we'll be able to really figure out, people will choose what they want, and then we'll be able to throw that into the revenue instead of making these assumptions. So, and we know, I don't know if we have those membership numbers. Yeah. So right now we have 23 yearly gym racquetball memberships and then 8 month-to-month. So 31 total memberships for the racquetball. And, we're getting 12 to 15 swipes a month. So people that are paying for it probably aren't really used to it. So But that's good. I mean, it's, I guess, long story short, we're still trying to gather back. 2021, I think everything's lined up. So, yeah, you have a, an unassumed analysis of what's going on.
That's just kind of shooting.
Yeah, some people do it that way, some people have two people with them that have memberships, but only one subsidy.
We do ask everybody to swipe when they go through the course of the
Yep.
1 hour. All people do their advice.
What I did, the only people that actually really research right on time, insurance reimbursement or not, and our services.
Those people have absolutely always, like, every time they come in each year.
So this next slide, you can see we're breaking down those expenditures even more. So we have 4 common areas that in our budget that different pools of money, right? And you can see here, personnel is the number 1 cost. Number 2 is repairs and maintenance. 3, utilities, and then 4 is supplies. So this kind of gives you a visual, all of the money that goes in, around $1 million a year. Where is it going in the facility? You can see personnel is a big component. We'll do kind of a deep dive into what that personnel is, because that's a big question, and we have a lot of part-time seasonal people. We allocate hours, so we'll be able to look and see all of the total FTEs that work here. So right now we have 3 technical full-time employees. We have Allison, Jenny, and then we have a rec maintenance supervisor, Bob. So those are the 3 full-time people. Everybody else is either seasonal or part-time. So in this kind of same graph as before, but it breaks down what are the personnel, supplies, utility, and repair maintenance costs for each of the different areas. So this is expenditures only. You can kind of see which areas are high repair and maintenance, ice arena, indoor pool, fitness center has some, then general facility. But, personnel wise, you can kind of see where we're at. Indoor pool has a huge personnel component. So rec programming, huge personnel component. We had 1 person kind of dedicated to that in the past. So these numbers reflect that. So see out of each of the service areas where those monies are being allocated.
So for our personnel.
Yep.
So we have.
Oh.
So we have a guy that's here on Saturday.
Correct. That means included in the
So is he 100% costed to that, or is he 60 cents for that? Our
It's broken up how you feel that there's a data chart.
and then the office folks are just spread over everything.
Yeah. Clear.
That
Yeah. Some message that you broke down, was according to what we did. So, but there is some assumptions with that. That's how this goes. We have salary employees, right? We have hourly employees, and our seasonal and our part-time are all obligated. So there were some assumptions made, but I think it was, we could look back, I don't remember what they were, but, there were some assumptions that were made as far as what Allison's allocation is for each of these service areas.
Who's Jim McElwain?
Come up here.
The office staff, so some of Allison's time, some of Jenny's time, some of the meeting, the time that we have. So, yeah, the lowest one, but. Yeah. We have the large, I guess there's probably a large admin of one of that we, you know, spread across. Oh, lifeguards. Yeah, lifeguards. You know, we had, how many hours we had in this meeting was 2019 and 2020. We had a lot of lifeguard hours.
This is after you.
So we had 56 lifeguards, something like that. We had a lot of lifeguards on staff that we just have working there. Cool.
Try to offer any help sessions as possible, and that's what we do.
How many hours a year is, like, when I look at, go back to that, what's the outdoor pool, is indoor, how many hours a year is the indoor pool, or was the indoor pool open versus the outdoor? I would think that outdoor pool hours is crazy higher, just because it's open so long. And this pool comes a couple hours here, a couple of weeks, never. Both my kids lifeguard, they never spent long stretches here. 2 hours in the morning, couple hours at night, so that seems. Sir, how do you talk me up for it on that?
Yeah, well, it's because it's 12 months out of the year, right? The outdoor pools that are free. We did have probably more hours. I don't know what typically we would have for hours of lifeguards every day, but there was a push to have the indoor pool open more so that people would try to maybe use it. So I know that that was going on in 19, but we also did have a lot of adults. So
We have the same for 2019, I believe, all of them are walking in that, all of those times were staff.
Once again, we have schools. Yes.
If it was a shallower and smaller pool, yes, it would be, the operational cost would be less. And it would still be cost. If you have a fit in there, you could pool it just for, those purposes, it could stay open without a lifeguard or things like that. We still have personnel, staff, else. Yeah.
With that pool, has it been looked into if it, let's say you took that pool from whatever size it is down to 40% of its size? Do those expenditures correlate to that size that you ended up with 80% of the cost because of the size of the pool?
yeah,
Is there?
I don't think it's linear. I think it's a linear correlation between the size of the pool. There's this baseline cost, no matter what.
Like, you talk about water.
He ain't going on.
If you took out all that heat, just had a shallow.
Yeah, you see a reduction in utilities for sure.
Utilities, maintenance, pumps.
Yeah. That is, so that's a big component of our facility manager spent a lot of time. A large portion of that is not.
When you look at the expenditures like on the outdoor pool, the numbers are very huge, and that's an older pool. Like, when I talk to board members of the country club, that's a much smaller pool, but it's, yeah, it's, let's say it's half the size, there's a size of the outdoor pool here. They have that pool, but there's no lifeguards over there. That pool up there costs them, it's even less than $10,000 a year. Our numbers, I mean, this is, yeah, big lifeguards out there, waiting, our numbers are crazy.
Yeah, we actually, we can partition those utilities out really cleanly. So it's a bigger pool. I know when we do staff, and it is staff, we got.
But if you took the step.
Yeah.
And same things do, like, we make cuts, like, it's slow on ice and lifers home. Rainy days obviously help. Slow better, but, the outdoor pool, staff wise, You never know how many people are gonna come, so we staff it with this many, and you might not have that many by the time, 8 o'clock goes around, because it's been 6 months, and we can't. So each year, it'll be different, and they'll remove this number.
Yeah, well, outside of personnel, just looking at this, it's probably about 40,000. A little over $10,000 a month for us operating. There's a large, maintenance repair component. Maybe next time we go check out the outdoor pool and look at the utility room, and I mean, there's stuff breaking all the time. So, if they have a little bit better system at the country club, that maintenance is gone, we're down to 20 grand. So it doesn't correlate exactly with the country club, but maybe it can pull out some of that stuff.
Are we talking this cost here, or we long term? What difference between having a pool that's for country club, a pool that's better, pools are money.
Oh, for sure.
No matter what you do.
I didn't know if it was a systems issue or the systems that are big here.
Well, really, your pool is they're 40-year license. So the one was renovated. So the longevity, only reason I know that is they expect the last 10 years. So, I'm more about that. This one, it's not necessarily good for revenue generating, it's not the right length that we're going to have competition. So, one of the genius was to put it in that be 3 or 4 years too short. So, one of those things where, okay, you just cut off how much revenue you can generate by having pools and things and that kind of thing. So, and for health club, realistically, let's call it community center health club, realistically, only 15% of the clientele that are being for health center. So it's more about, say you have it, to attract them, but most of you are revenue.
See what we got next. So this one is looking at, again, I think this is just in here twice. I meant to slide one up or use this one up top, but looking at the revenue collected versus the levy again, this might be a good slide. Oh yeah, this compares the two. One of them's just the revenue collected levy, and then that shows down where the money's being spent. You can kind of line them up and say, really the revenue collected almost covers the personnel costs or almost covers the supplies, utilities, repairs. A conceptual comparison between the two. Now looking at the personnel, this is a large facility. We have a lot of personnel. We have a total of just under 10 FTE total that work here. A little over 20,000 hours of time is put in and budgeted here. Full-time employees, so we have 3 full-time employees, but we also have some additional facility manager time is in there as well. So we have about 6,240 hours budgeted. Lifeguards, you can see their time just over 7,000. Part-time ice maintenance, so that's having some of the part-time individuals that help out in the ice arena. 840 hours. Facility maintenance, 570. Program instructors, so those are the people that are doing the programs that we offer through our rec programming at 850, and then our part-time office staff, which you see quite a few people rotating through that are our part-time office staff. So that's a big component, $2,800. So total 56 people, other than the 3 full-time people that are fully dedicated here. So it's a pretty big organization. Managing 56 people, organizing high schoolers, 56 high schoolers. It's challenging, in the workforce. Because people don't show up to work, you got to find people to come in and cover. They're not as reliable as that's their career. So, kudos to Allison and Jenny for managing that group of people. It is challenging for sure. So this is a good snapshot of just what we have going on here and what we budget for as a city council. And this kind of looks at how many hours we budget, so that 20,000 hours. where that goes. So you can see full-time versus the lifeguards, and then the ice maintenance, facility maintenance, program instructors, and part-time staff. You can see, hours wise, this isn't a dollar figure. I think the next one is the dollar figure to kind of show where that is. So obviously the full-time employees, it costs more to have them. You can kind of see everything kind of shift to the right. So that just kind of shows what the component is for that. So that's just kind of the general financials of the system. As we, talked about through the discussion, we're constantly trying to refine this data and get it as good as, there's no doubt in my mind that in 2021, our, first normal year since 2019, a normal-ish year, we're going to be able to really do a deep dive and figure out exactly who's using what and what the expenditures and revenues are for each of those 7 service areas. So I have a little portion here just for like kind of general discussion, which I'm glad we had you prompt to, and questions have popped up. Talk them through, but do you guys have anything that kind of popped out overall? I think there's some, personnel questions, just like operational questions about the outdoor pool and just kind of maybe pools in general, how expensive they are to operate. We've done some comparisons with St. Peter. We have some outdoor pools as well. It's a similar ratio as far as their revenue and expenses. I think they might have, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they have two outdoor pools or something like that. I don't know if anybody knows what St. Peter has. Do they just have the one? Okay. I didn't know if they have the, but so they're about the same. I think our revenues this year are going to probably exceed theirs. In 2020, when we had outdoor pool open just for 2 months, we generated what, 26,000 in revenue compared to 2019 when we had 110. So this year, 2021, trending in that same direction where we're already at 25 a year. That's front loaded because a lot of people buy those membership packages up front, and we still get daily use passes. So those revenues may triple compared to 2019, which is good. It's a good thing. People are using it, but I don't know if it's a long-term trend or if that's just a product of COVID-19 and people not really having that much stuff to do and saying, oh, this outdoor pool's open, I'm going to use it. It might trickle off when kind of the more traditional summer things are more readily available. So, but it's a good thing to have. People are using it. I love to see people using the pool and revenues actually being up. So, any general discussion items that you guys feel you want to talk about that we haven't had a chance to discuss?
A real quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that bond we took out for the roof and things like that. Was that 2014?
That was 2014 I believe, bond.
And that's done with.
It's a 15-year bond, so that would be 29. So 2029, is that right? Or is it 20? Hold on. Might be a 20-year bond. Oh, we'll get some more info. It might be a 20. I thought it was 2034. We'll get some more. Yeah. I'll dig it up. Chris, Yeah, it's either a 15 or 20-year bond. I mean, I can figure it out pretty quick. It's 175,000 a year. So
I'm thinking of Johnson.
Oh.
I can't help but think once that bond is paid, there'll be some other issues that we'll probably have to address that with another bond.
Probably, we hope that we don't let things go so far where it's, a $4.6 million bond because, in hindsight, I wasn't here, you weren't on city council, but for that kind of money, in my mind, it's like it should be something kind of flashy that the community can see where that was literally just maintenance, I think, right? Maintenance, you got some bleachers and stuff like that. It was a lot of money to invest in recreation. It was needed, but it's really maintenance related. So, but yeah, I believe it was a 15-year bond. Yeah. Well, I'll look at that exactly. So, is there anything